Is it working? Hi guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's pretend that nothing has happened. Is it better? Alright, let's see if this one works this time. Yeah. And this phone decides not to work again. Great. I'm doing live reading right now. Trying to read this book for you guys, but it's I've been having this problem with my other phone. Yeah, everything works fine with this phone. It's just the camera that keeps messing it up and crashing. So sorry, guys. I want to cry. Should have tested this first. I don't know how to test it. สวัสดีครับพี่เบียร์ Yeah, I could read without the camera, but I want the camera to be wait, why not? Who is Eric from The Boys? I want to go to sleep now since this is not working. Ugh. And it's just not working, just like I thought. Well, it's almost 10 now. Should I just skip the forward and just go straight to prologue? No. Part 1? I might not be able to go live tomorrow. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. here as well. I can't though. I just want to read for you guys. Just let me read at least, I don't know, one part maybe. Let's see how long it is. Wait. So part 1 is basically half the book. Is it? I don't know. I'm not sure. How is everyone night going, by the way? How is your week going? Have you guys been studying? Yeah, the mirror might work, but that would be a bit weird, wouldn't it? A lot of work? Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna start reading. Yeah, and I will keep trying with the other phone. If it works, then it works. Yeah. Oh, the forward for this is actually pretty um important. So maybe I should read it for you guys. Maybe. Bye. Okay, it decides that it's finally time to work. 2 hours later. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch anything about this phone now. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna leave it like this, guys. I'm not gonna start the live again. Okay. I might use another phone next time. So yeah. Forward. Is everyone ready? I'm ready. It's okay for you guys not to see my face, really. But it's working now, so yep. Should we go? Can you guys see it? Ah, my hand. I don't know where to put my hand. Okay, here we go. Forward. When The Alchemist was first published 25 years ago in my native Brazil, no one noticed. A bookseller in the northeast corner of the country told me that only one person purchased a copy the first week of its release. It took another 6 months for the bookseller to unload a second copy. And that was to the same person who bought the first. And who knows how long it took to sell the third. And by the end of the year, it was clear to everyone that The Alchemist wasn't working. My original publisher decided to cut me loose and cancelled our contract. They wiped their hands of the project and let me take the book with me. I was 41 and desperate. But I never lost faith. But I never lost faith in the book or ever wavered in my vision. Why? Because it was me in there, all of me, heart and soul. I was living my own metaphor. A man sets out on a journey, dreaming of a beautiful or magical place. Let me adjust my chair for a bit so I can breathe properly and read properly. Okay. In pursuit of some unknown treasure. At the end of his journey, the man realizes the treasure was with him the entire time. I was following my personal legend. That's one of the words that I like the most. Personal legend. Yeah, you heard it right. I think I was 41 and desperate, yes. Okay. I was following my personal legend, and my treasure was my capacity to write, and I want to share this treasure with the world. Sorry, this phone is not charging. Whoa. Okay, now it's charging. โทษทีครับมันเบลอแต่ว่าทำอะไรไม่ได้ เพราะว่าเดี๋ยวคราวหน้าหาวิธีแก้ปัญหาให้นะ Sorry for the blurry text, guys. I will try to fix it next time, okay? For now, just try to listen to my voice, I guess. My beautiful voice. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. So hard to keep this. As I wrote in The Alchemist, when you want something, the whole universe conspires to help you. I started knocking on the doors of other publishers. One opened, and the publisher on the other side believed in me and my book and agreed to give The Alchemist a second chance. Slowly, through word of mouth, it finally started to sell. 3,000, then 6,000, then 10,000, sorry, book by book, gradually throughout the year. Eight months later, an American visiting Brazil picked up a copy of The Alchemist in a local bookstore. He wanted to translate the book and help me to find a publisher in the United States. HarperCollins agreed to bring it to an American audience, publishing it with great fanfare, ads in the New York Times and influential news magazines, radio and television interviews. But it still took some time to sell, slowly finding its audience in the United States by word and mouth. Just as it did in Brazil. And then one day, Bill Clinton was photographed leaving the White House with a copy. Then Madonna raved about the book to Vanity Fair, and people from different walks of life, from Rush Limbaugh and Will Smith to college students and soccer moms, were suddenly talking about it. The Alchemist became a spontaneous and organic phenomenon. The book hit the New York Times the New York Times bestseller list, an important milestone for any author, and stayed there for more than 300 weeks. It has since been translated into more than 80 different languages, the most translated book by any living author. Wow. And is widely considered one of the 10 best books of the 20th century. People continue to ask me if I knew The Alchemist would be such a huge success. The answer is no. I had no idea. How could I? When I sat down to write The Alchemist, all I knew is that I wanted to write about my soul. I wanted to write about my quest to find my treasure. I want to follow the omens, because I knew even then that the omens are the language of God. Though The Alchemist is now celebrating its 25th anniversary, it is no relics of the past. The book is still very much alive, like my heart and like my soul. It continues to live every day because my heart and soul are in it. And my heart and soul is your heart and soul. I am Santiago, the shepherd boy in search of my treasure, just as you are Santiago, the shepherd boy in search of your own. The story of one person is the story of everyone, and one man's quest is the quest of all of humanity, which is why I believe The Alchemist continues all these years later to resonate with people from different cultures around the world, touching them emotionally and spiritually equally without prejudice. Whew. I'm starting to read too fast because I'm so into it. Why is my phone not charging? Right, just give me a second. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is the foreword. So it's basically about the author history about this book and how he put his heart and soul into this book. Where are we now? Okay. Yeah, it's not that long. Okay. We're gonna skip to the part 1 after this. I really reread The Alchemist regularly, and every time I do, I experience the same sensations I felt when I wrote it. And here is what I feel. I feel happiness because it is all of me and all of you. Wait, how do you read this word? Simultaneously. There it is. Simultaneously, I feel happiness too, because I know I can never be alone. Wherever I go, people understand me. They understand my soul. This continues to give to give me hope. When I read about clashes around the world, political clashes, economic clashes, cultural clashes, I am reminded that it is within our power to build a bridge to be crossed. Even if my neighbor doesn't understand my religion or understand my politics, he can understand my story. If he can't understand my story, then he's never too far from me. It is always within my power to build a bridge. There is always a chance for reconciliation, a chance that one day he and I will sit around the table together and put an end to our history of clashes. And on this day, he will tell me his story, and I will tell him mine. Simultaneous. Wait, how do you read it? Simultaneously. Is that how you spell it? I'm so confused. Anyway, let's continue before you guys fall asleep for real. Oops. Keep hitting this. It's just shaking. Okay. Prologue. Translated by Clifford E. Landers. The alchemist picked up a book that someone in the caravan had brought. Leafing through the pages, he found a story about Narcissus. Did I say that right? I don't know. Simultaneously. Thank you. I knew that's how it should be read. I'm just not sure. Thanks. Okay, the alchemist knew the legend of Narcissus, a youth who knelt daily beside a lake to contemplate his own beauty. He was so fascinated by himself that one morning he fell into the lake and drowned. At the spot where he fell, a flower was born, which was called the narcissus. But this was not how the author of the book ended the story. He said that when Narcissus died, the goddess of the forest appeared and found the lake, which had been fresh water, transformed into a lake of salty tears. Why do you weep? The goddess asked. I weep for Narcissus, the lake replied. Ah, it is no surprise that you weep for Narcissus, they said, for though we always pursue him in the forest, and you alone could contemplate his beauty close at hand. But was Narcissus beautiful? The lake asked. Who better than you know that? The goddesses said in wonder. After all, it was by your banks that he knelt each day to contemplate himself. The lake was silent for some time. Finally it said, I weep for Narcissus, but I never noticed that Narcissus was beautiful. I weep because each time he knelt beside my banks, I could see in the depth of his eyes my own beauty reflected. What a lovely story, the alchemist thought. Have you guys heard of this mythology before? Okay, I guess I will keep reading. Thanks for staying, guys. So if I see the number goes away on live, that means you guys just fell asleep, right? It's okay. I'm not good at reading English either, so I guess it's a practice for both of us. Yeah. Okay. Part one. The boy's name was Santiago. Dusk was falling as the boy arrived with his herd at an abandoned church. The roof had fallen in long ago, and an enormous sycamore had grown on the spot where the sacristy had once stood. He decided to spend the night there and saw to it that all the sheep enter through the ruined gate, and then laid some planks across it to prevent the flock from wandering away during the night. There were no wolves in the region, but once an animal had strayed during the night, and the boy had to spend the entire next day searching for it. He swept the floor with his jacket and lay down, using the book he had just finished reading as a pillow. He told himself that he could have to start. I mean, sorry. He told himself that he would have to start reading thicker books that lasted longer and made more comfortable pillows. It was still dark when he awoke, and looking up, he could see the stars through the half-destroyed roof. Sorry, just trying to adjust this. I wanted to sleep longer, he thought. He had the same dream that night as a week ago. And once again, he had awakened before it ended. He arose, taking up his crook, began to awaken the sheep that still slept. He had noticed that as soon as he awoke, most of his animals also began to stir. It was as if some mysterious energy bound his life to that of the sheep, with whom he had spent the past 2 years, leading them through the countryside in search of food and water. They are also used to me that they know my schedule, he muttered. Thinking about that for a moment, he realized that it could be the other way around, that it was he who had become accustomed to their schedule. But there were certain of them who took a bit longer to awaken. The boy prodded them, one by one, with his crook, calling each name. He had always believed that the sheep were able to understand what he said, so there were times when he read them parts of his books, just like what we are doing right now. He made an impression on him. That made an impression on him, or when he would tell them of the loneliness or the happiness of the shepherd in the fields. Sometimes he would comment to them on the things he had seen in the villages they passed. But for the past few days, he had spoken to them about only one thing: the girl, the daughter of a merchant, who lived in the village. They would reach in about 4 days. He had been to the village only once, the year before. The merchant was the proprietor a dry good. Sorry, the merchant was the proprietor of the dry goods shop, and he always demanded that the sheep be sheared in his presence, so that he would not be cheated. A friend had told the boy about the shop, and he had taken his sheep there. I need to sell some wool, the boy told the merchant. The shop was busy and the man asked the shepherd to wait until the afternoon. So the boy sat on the steps of the shop and took a book from his bag. I didn't know shepherd knew how to read, said a girl's voice from behind him. The girl was typical of the region of Andalusia, with flowing black hair and eyes that vaguely recalled the Moorish conquerors. Gosh, that is so the words are just so uncommon for me. Sorry if I pronounce it wrong, guys. Well, usually I learn more from my sheep than from my books, he answered. That's the sketch. Okay. During the 2 hours that they talked, she told him she was the merchant's daughter and spoke of life in the village, where each day was like all the others. The shepherd told her of the Andalusian countryside and related the news from the other towns where he had stopped. Okay. It was a pleasant change from talking to his sheep. How did you learn how to read? The girl asked at one point. Like everybody learns, he said, in school. Well, if you know how to read, why are you just a shepherd? The boy mumbled and answered that aloud. Sorry. The boy mumbled an answer that allowed him to avoid responding to her questions. He was sure the girl would never understand. He went on telling stories about his travels, and her bright Moorish eyes went wide with fear and surprise. As the time passed, the boy found himself wishing that the day would never end, that her father would stay busy and keep him waiting for 3 days. He recognized that he was feeling something he had never experienced before, the desire to live in one place forever. With the girl with the raven hair, his days his days would never be the same again. But finally, the merchant appeared and asked the boy to shear 4 sheep. He paid for the wool and asked the shepherd to come back the following year. And now it was only 4 days before he would be back in that same village. He was excited and at the same time uneasy. Maybe the girl had already forgotten him. Lots of shepherds passed through, selling their wool. It doesn't matter, he said to his sheep. I know other girls in other places. But in his heart he knew that it didn't matter. And he knew that the shepherds and he knew that shepherds, like seamen, and like traveling salesmen, always found a town where there was someone who could make them forget the joys of carefree wandering. The day was dawning, and the shepherd urged his sheep in the direction of the sun. They never have to make any decision, he thought. Maybe that's why they always stay close to me. Yeah. Is it okay? I'm just gonna drink for a bit. Sorry, guys. I was dehydrated. How's everyone doing so far? About to fall asleep? I'm about to fall asleep now. I guess I'm reading myself to sleep. Where are we? I'm gonna see just how far do we have. I'm gonna read until page 12, and then we'll continue this for the next time. Yeah. Now we're on the ninth page. Aw, thanks guys. Hey man. Boom. It's long time no see. I'm just reading you guys some story. I hope my pronunciation works. I mean, yeah. I haven't read in such a long time. Okay. Let me get back to it. The only things that concerned the sheep were food and water. As long as the boy knew how to find the best pastures in the Andalusia, in the Andalusia, they would be his best friends. Yes, their days were all the same, with the seemingly endless hours between sunrise and dusk. And they had never read a book in their young lives, and didn't understand when the boy told them about the sights of the cities. They were content with just food and water, and in exchange, they generously gave their wool, their company, and, once in a while, their meat. If I became a monster today and decided to kill them one by one, they would become aware only after most of the flock had been slaughtered, thought the boy. They trust me, as they have forgotten how to rely on their own instincts, because I lead them to nourishment. The boy was surprised at his thoughts. Maybe the church with the sycamore growing from within had been haunted. It had caused him to have the same dream for a second time. And it was causing him to feel anger toward his faithful companions. He drank a bit from the wine that remained from his dinner of the night before, and he gathered his jacket closer to his body. He knew that a few hours from now, with the sun at its zenith, the heat would be so great that he would not be able to lead his flock across the fields. It was the time of the day when all of Spain slept during the summer. The heat last the heat lasts until nightfall, and all that time he had to carry his jacket. But when he thought to complain about the burden of his weight, he remembered that because he had the jacket, he had withstood the cold of the dawn. We have to be prepared for change, he thought, and he was grateful for his jacket's weight and warmth. The jacket had a purpose, and so did the boy. His purpose in life was to travel, and after 2 years of walking in the Andalusian terrain, he knew all the cities of the region. He was planning on this visit to explain to the girl how it was that a simple shepherd knew how to read. Then he had attended a seminary until he was 16. His parents had wanted to become a priest, and thereby a source of pride for a simple farm family. They work hard just to have food and water. Like the sheep, he had studied Latin, Spanish, and theology, but ever since he had been a child, he had wanted to know the world, and this was much more important to him than knowing God and learning about man's sin. One afternoon, on a visit to his family, he had summoned the courage to tell his father that he didn't want to become a priest, that he wanted to travel. People from all over the world have passed through this village, son, said his father. They come in search of new things, but when they leave, they are basically the same people they were when they arrived. They climb the mountain to see the castle, and they wind up thinking that the past was better than what we have now. They have blonde hair or dark skin, but basically they are the same as the people who live right here. But I would like to see the castles in the towns where they live, the boy explained. Those people, when they see our land, said that they would live here forever, his father continued. Well, I like to see their land and see how they live, said his son. The people who come here have a lot of money to spend, so they can afford to travel, his father said. Among us, they only I'm sorry guys. I'm trying to be the father and the son. Ah! Whoops. Did I wake you guys up? The people who come here have a lot of money to spend, so they can't afford to travel, said his father. Amongst us, the only ones who travel are the shepherds. Well, then I will be a shepherd. His father said no more. The next day, he gave his son a pouch that held 3 ancient Spanish gold coins. I found this one day in the fields. I wanted them to be a part of your inheritance, but use them to buy your flock. take to the fields, and someday you will learn that our 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 countryside is the best, and our women are the most beautiful. And he gave the boy his blessing. The boy could see his father's gaze, a desire to be able himself to travel the world, a desire that was still alive, despite his father's having had to bury it over dozens of years under the burden of struggling for water to drink. I'm sorry, can I read this one again? I'm gonna read this paragraph again. It sounds better in my head, but when I read it out loud, it just doesn't sound good. Okay. And he gave the boy his blessing. The boy could see in his father's gaze a desire to be able, himself, to travel the world, a desire that was still alive, despite his father's having to bury it over dozens of years, under the burden of struggling for water to drink, food to eat, and the same place to sleep every night of his life. Okay, guys. That was page 12. I think I should end it here because if I start here, it will be a quite long page. I mean, yeah, long paragraph there. Yeah, bedtime, guys. That was a good practice for me as well, and hopefully a good practice for you guys. อ่านหนังสืออาจจะลองดูนะครับ แต่ว่าอ่านออกเสียงไม่ค่อยเก่งขนาดนั้นยังอ่านติดขัดอยู่ พูดไม่ชัดด้วย ถ้าลองอ่านภาษาไทยนะครับจะรู้เลย Next time I might read Thai, so some Thai audience, some Thai fans can understand. Yeah, and you guys can listen in Thai. Oh, almost forgot. One theme for you guys, yeah? Of The Alchemist before we go. And I will keep the Dune for later. Okay, are you guys ready? I will bookmark the Alchemist first, and then we'll continue next time. โอ้โหถ้าให้แปลไทยนี่จบเลยครับ ต้องไปซื้อเวอร์ชันภาษาไทยมา Let's see. What are you guys feeling? Yeah, I like mythology too. It's kind of easier to understand, I guess. but this one is about philosophy. Oh, thanks, guys. I actually have a mythology book, one of the best sellings, which I haven't read. And the dust is catching on it now. See? Basically, it is all about mythology and the gods. And also has the story about that narcissist as well. สวัสดีครับพี่แก้ว ทำไมนอนดึกจังล่ะครับ ผมจะไปแล้ว Okay, guys. Pick one. Pick one theme of the prophet. As you can see, my lips are kind of tired and my tongue as well because I haven't written English for such a long time. The Cornito ad. Is it still on air? It's on air for such a long time. Can you guys see it? The theme. What's famous? Oh, okay. There's on love, on marriage, on children, giving, eating and drinking, work, joy and sorrow, houses, clothes, buying and selling, crime and punishment, laws, freedom, reason and passion, pain, self-knowledge, teaching, friendship, talking, time, good and evil, prayer, pleasure, beauty, religion, death, and farewell. There's no Cupid and Psyche. Is there? No. You guys are tricking me. Pick one, or else I'll pick for you guys. Freedom? Where is it? Pretty sure it's on here as well. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Freedom? I wanted to read about love, but freedom is fine too. What's the name of this book? It's called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran. Yeah, I think that's how it should be read. Okay. If no one's gonna pick, let's go with freedom. 1, 4, 6. So basically what this book is about is Gibran, he's a philosopher, writer, and this book, The Prophet, is considered to be, for me at least, like a Bible for lots of writers out there. There are so many quotes about this book. You can see it from so many writers, and yeah, it's basically one of the greatest book ever, I think. And it's keeps being relevant until these days. And this book has the first time it came out. I forgot the year, but it was such a long time ago. Let's see. The Prophet came out on 1923. So how long was that? I'm terrible at math. I'll let you guys calculate that. And then the first book that he, first official book, I guess, called The Madman, which came out on 1918. Okay, let's go on freedom, yeah? Yeah, I try to read as much book as possible when I have time. But yeah, what I should be doing though is after reading it, I should be sharing it and analyze it so that it's kind of go into my cells and in my brain. Because if I just read it and then just leave it and said, oh yeah, I'm done with that book, most of the time I'll just forget what it's about, like a month later or something. Yeah, good pick, freedom. Yeah, I mean, The Alchemist has all the theme in there if you actually read the whole book. Yeah, but freedom is fine too. I guess this is what we want right now in life, since especially during the pandemic. Thanks, guys. To be honest, I wasn't sure if this content is gonna work, but I guess it's kind of work. I'll try to be better next time though. เป็นเพื่อนกับพี่ติตะพี่ติตะจริงๆเป็นรุ่นพี่นิดนึงครับผมเป็นเรียกว่าไงเป็นรุ่นพี่ที่ช่องYeah, exactly. Discussion and sharing is the most important after you read some books. Thanks. Take care of yourself, guys. Okay, let's go to freedom, yeah? And an orator said, speak to us of freedom. And he answered, at the city gate and by your fireside, I have seen you prostrate yourself. Sorry. This phone is echoing and it's distracting me. Let me fix it real quick. Just a second. Sorry to keep you guys up this late. No. Actually, you know what? I'm too lazy. I'm just gonna read it. This phone might fail again. Okay, I'm gonna start again. And an orator said, speak to us of freedom. And he answered, at the city gate and by your fireside, I have seen you prostrate yourself and worship your own freedom. Even as if slaves humble themselves before a tyrant and praise him. Even as if slaves humble themselves before a tyrant and praise him though he slays them. I, in the grove of the temple, and in the shadow of the citadel, I have seen the freest among you wear their freedom as a yoke and a handcuff. And my heart bled within me, for you can only be free when even this desire of seeking freedom becomes a harness to you. And when you cease to speak of freedom as a goal and a fulfillment, I guess following along, you shall be free indeed when your days are not without a care, nor your nights without a want and a grief, but rather when these things girdle your life, and yet you rise above them, naked and unbound. And how shall you rise beyond your days and nights, unless you break the chains which you at the dawn of your understanding have fastened around your noon hour? In truth, that which you call freedom is the strongest of these chains, though its links glitter in the sun and dazzle your eyes. And what is it but fragments of your own self you would discard that you may become free? If it is an unjust law, you would abolish the law was written with your own hand upon your own forehead. You cannot erase it by burning your own law books, nor by washing the foreheads of your judges, though you pour the sea upon them. And if it is a despot you would dethrone, see first that his throne erected within you is destroyed. For how can a tyrant rule the free and the proud, but for a tyranny in their own freedom and a shame in their own pride? And if it is a care you would cast off, that card has been chosen by you, rather than imposed upon you. And if it is a fear you would dispel, the seat of that fear is in your heart, and not in the hand of the feared. Verily, all things move within your being in a constant half embraced. The desired and the dreaded, the repugnant and the cherished, the pursued and that which you would escape. This these things move within you as lights and shadows in pairs that cling. And when the shadow fades and is no more, the light that lingers becomes a shadow to another light. And thus your freedom, when it loses its feathers, becomes itself the feather of a greater freedom. Let me read the last one again. And thus your freedom, when it loses its fetters, becomes itself the fetter of a greater freedom. Yeah, it's pretty confusing. If you want to reread this, you can just search it online. And yeah, and reread it if you want. And there are also Thai versions as well, and you can read it along. Yeah. Hope you guys get something out of this. And have a great night, guys. Or I can just post it on my story as well, but probably not. Alright, I'm gonna go. Good night, guys. ฝันดีครับทุกคน ถ้าอยากอ่านไปอ่านหาอ่านในเน็ตได้นะ If you want to read, just search it online, The Prophet and Freedom. There should be a whole lot of stuff on there. I miss doing YouTube as well, but sometimes it just takes too much effort because I edit my own footage as well. I know lots of people do that, but yeah, the schedule just kind of doesn't add up for me. So doing this is kind of easier and kind of it's like I connect to you guys a lot more direct. But I know some people on YouTube is it's a different group of audience as well. But thank you for saying that. I'm definitely thinking about going back. There will be some content that I post on here and will be posted on YouTube as well for like further edit and stuff, and maybe some subtitles. I might do some interviews. No, I'm thinking about doing some exclusive interviews with some actors, actresses, friends, and it will be posted on IGTV here, and will be hosted live on here as well, and will be posted onto YouTube. That's what I'm planning to do. So yeah, stay tuned and thank you for supporting me, guys. And I'm going now. Have a great night. Sweet dreams. Bye, guys. Good night.จบแล้วครับมาไม่ทันละเพื่อนบ๊ายบายคราวหน้า Yeah, sure. I try to save all the life. Bye. For real now. Oh, don't forget to comment what you guys think about this live as well on the post. Okay, bye. Give me some feedback. Yeah, bye. Thanks.